No matter where you are in your diving education, the next course you take is probably going to start with some portion of self-study. And when it comes to self-study these days, you've got two options: to either do some book learning, good old-fashioned manual, paper manual, or e-learning. So I figured this Mouthpiece Monday, I'll give you the pros and cons of each. I'll tell you as an instructor what I prefer my students to use in terms of learning materials. And then at the end, I'll give you some general information and hints and tips about how to prepare for your next dive course when it comes to the self-study proportion. Roll intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. It is so great to see all of your smiling faces. How is everybody doing out there? We are back once again for yet another Mouthpiece Monday. And this week I'm going to be looking at the two options you've got for the self-study portion of pretty much whatever your next scuba course is, whether you're just about to start learning diving and it's open water, all the way up to advanced trimix or even your instructor course. So we're going to dig into that. If you're new to our channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you with us. Make your next dive on our subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because it helps us out to keep making these videos with one simple goal in mind, and that's to help make you a better scuba diver. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much. Without further ado, let's dive into it. What we're going to look at in this video are manuals, the pros and cons of studying from a paper book, old-fashioned school style, however you want to say it, versus the more modern approach of e-learning. And pretty much nearly all of the major agencies now have an e-learning platform. One only does e-learning. They've completely committed to e-learning and don't publish any manuals at all. We'll have a little bit of a talk and a discussion about that. But I thought first we'd just go through, okay, what are the pros and cons from an instructor point of view, looking at your students coming into training? What would I prefer that you use as a study tool? Let's start with e-learning then. I mean, e-learning, this is the age of COVID, so this is nothing new, and all the different agencies will argue over who had the first e-learning platform or the range of courses or the number of languages that it's available in. It doesn't really matter, okay? The fact is that most of them now have some form of an e-learning platform. They all work pretty much the same way. You're going to go to the website, you're going to purchase the e-learning, or you're going to be given a code, a login code from your dive shop or your instructor, and you're going to create an account with your basic information. Got to get that data, man, got to get the emails, got to get the marketing tools, and then start your course. So basically you go in there, you've registered, start course. You're going to watch a video. The video is going to give you an introduction. Then you're going to answer a couple of questions. Then you might read a short paragraph. Then watch another video. Then ask some more questions. And the information is going to follow exactly the same path as a traditional manual would. E-learning is incredibly convenient. You can do it on your phone, on a tablet, on a laptop computer. You can do it on the bus nice and easily. Have your headphones in, answer the questions on your phone. Much more convenient than dragging a manual around with you and dipping in and out of it. Undoubtedly. Like a book, you can save your progress. You don't have to do the courses all in one go. It will remember how far you got into the course, and then when you log back in, pick right back up again where you started. What are you doing? I'm recording video. What are you doing? Somebody needed attention. I'm in the middle of recording, and this one's like making noises and, you don't love me, why, who are you talking to? Oh my God. You're such a baby. You are such a baby. Look. Look at you. You're a 50-pound baby. That's what you are. I'll put you over here, I don't care. Oh. Sorry about that. Come on. Get out of here. Go on. Go out. Get a job. Pay rent. Or you still know it all. Now I'm covered in husky hair. Hashtag husky life. E-learning is also very convenient for your instructor because you do all your exams online. So there's no oversight or administration of the exams from the instructor point of view. You basically complete the exams online and you get a printout of your results complete with all the questions you got right, all the questions you got wrong. And then they're supposed to go through the questions you got wrong, correct the answers, make sure you understand those topics, sign off at the bottom of the form. That goes into your folder. Great, let's get in the pool. That's it. It's very, very convenient from the instructor point of view, but that's not always a good thing. I'd rather that you had more time getting the knowledge from your instructor and the theory in a classroom environment before we go and throw you in dive gear and throw you in the pool. But that's very much the trend these days. How fast can we make these scuba courses? Not how good can we make them, how fast, because we've got to get you in, get you out, so the next people coming in can get in. And that's one of the downsides of e-learning is that speed, that let's get you in, let's get you out. It doesn't give you enough time with your instructor, and everyone's trying to move these courses so fast these days. Manuals, or the good old-fashioned textbooks, have their pros and cons as well. On the con side, obviously, it's a big, heavy book that you've got to carry around with you. But like e-learning, you can always save your place and return to it and so on. But some of the things that I really like about manuals are that they're yours to keep. I know that e-learning doesn't expire and you can always log back in and look up information again, but I feel it's much more convenient to have that book on your shelf that you can reach down if it's been a while since you last did a certain type of diving, grab the appropriate book, open it up and refresh yourself at your leisure. But really the advantage of doing the manual route isn't the manual itself, it's the fact that you're going to get more classroom time with your instructor. And that, I think, is the most valuable thing. I generally prefer my students to study with the manual. Well, actually that's not true. I don't care which one you choose. You can do the e-learning, you can do the manual. However, the manual is non-negotiable. It's included in the cost of every course that I put out there. You're getting the manual. If you want to go to the website of the agency that I teach for and purchase the e-learning and do the e-learning, great. You're still getting the manual, you're still getting the classroom time with me. I'm still going to instruct you and elaborate on the topics in the manual, because here's the thing. The manual is the minimum required knowledge, and I want you to have more than the minimum required knowledge. So that means we need classroom time together so that we can expand on the topics covered in the manuals. On the subject of pricing then, a scuba course with e-learning and a scuba course with a manual should work out to be about the same price. It's the same course. The difference is the e-learning costs more than the manual does. An e-learning open water for my agency costs about 140 bucks, whereas the manual is like 35 or something. I'm guesstimating, I don't know exactly, but let's say there's $100 difference. That $100, that money is going straight to the agency and you're getting less time with your instructor. Whereas over here, the manual costs less and you're getting more time with your instructor. So where do you want your money to go? And a side note here as well, while we're talking about pricing, is any course that you're doing, make sure you understand what's included, and if your instructor expects you to buy e-learning or buy the manual on top of the price they've quoted, or is that included? Like I said, I include the manual in all my course costs. You're getting the manual because I want you to have the manual. That's it. It is a very common trick that you see, hey, $199 open water course, and by the way, you need to buy a mask, a fin, a snorkel, you need to buy the manual, you need to buy no, it's not $199 then, is it? All right, let me give you some general tips about the self-study portion that apply to any course you're going to do, okay? Regardless of whether you choose e-learning or manual, I don't recommend that you try and do it all in one sitting. Break it up, chapter by chapter. The knowledges are packaged in nice, succinct, subject matter specific chapters. So just do one chapter at a time and let that information sink in. And then when you come back the next day or the next week or however long, review the chapter you just did before moving into the next chapter. And that's really going to help you implant that knowledge in your brain. Second thing is, when should you do your theory portion, your self-study? Number one, and I speak for literally every dive instructor on the planet here, you better have it finished before class starts. You're welcome, instructors. I don't think there's a single instructor on the planet who disagrees with me on this point, but if there is, let me know in the comments below. Absolutely have your theory finished before the first day of class, but not too far ahead of time. So if it's December and it's snowing outside and you're doing your e-learning for your deep class that you're going to take in Cozumel the following July, by the time that rolls around, you will have forgotten what you've done. So if you're doing it that early, that far in advance, make sure that in the days prior to your class, you refresh yourself. You dip back into the e-learning, dip back into the manual, and remember what you'd studied. Another top tip is that manuals last forever. E-learning courses, once you start them, you have 1 year to finish the whole course. You can go and buy a manual and take your time to read it, or not even have an instructor picked out. When it comes to the e-learning though, as soon as you start that course, you have 1 year to finish the course, including the dives. So you want to kind of bear that in mind when it comes to planning. And again, I'm talking for the majority of agencies here, not every single agency. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my hints and tips for the self-study portion of any scuba diving course, manual versus e-learning. Let me know in the comments section below if you've got any hints and tips that can help other divers. That's one of the things we really love about this community, is that everyone chips in, supports each other, and hey, if I missed a piece of information out, that's what the comment section is for. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something from it, please feel free to give it the old thumbs up. Just give it a thumbs up because Ziggy made a cameo. I mean, hell, you know. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please make sure you do so via that red button just down there. You know how it works. I'll put some of our other material over here that you can check out. And until next time, my name's James. This was your Divers Ready Mouthpiece Monday for this week. Dive safe, dive often.